I'm back with another live topic. And this topic title, where I'm going to be giving my reaction and commentary today, and strictly everything I say today is just my opinions, comments, and views, as stated. But the title is The Whore of Babylon. What does it mean? Who is the whore of Babylon? What is a whore, right? And what does it mean for us today? And there was no way for me to not talk about this. You know what I mean? Women, all women should be inspired by such texts. You know what I'm saying? If they exist and what it might mean. Not because they're women, but because women more so than any other species have to walk around and hold the weight of whatever the quote unquote whore is supposed to be. Nobody gets labeled that more than a woman. And that's why the whore of Babylon is described as like in a symbolically like a woman. God knew he would get people attention calling it that. You know what I mean? But he described it in a way where it's a people that have false idols, false images, false idols, and they also worship them. And to him, this is whorish, right? To have a God here, a God there, spiritual belief over there. It's like, in God's eyes, in his heart, though everybody doesn't care to see it the way he does, it's whorish. You know what I mean? You can't put the term, the oldest, most ancient entity of the world already used the word whore. Not one person today can use it and it be brand new or somebody's amazed because they call somebody that. God himself first was using this term decades ago. Yeah, so back to what I was saying, it's whorish in God's eyes for people to have all these different practices. You know, he's the main creator here. He's the all in all blueprint, for what the world was supposed to be, resemble, look like. And that's all we see is just a great attack against it. There's been no other greater time in the world where actually I haven't seen love attacked. Just love itself, the act of love, especially when it's genuine, when it's pure, when it's undiluted, just straight up love. All the things people can put in their system, their veins, their life, and they choose to reject love. It's crazy. It's like when we have a pandemic of that, everybody injecting themselves with love. I'm talking about getting full blown huge doses and getting high off of love. We be in another place by now. And now that it's actually more of a popular topic, how people use spirituality to actually negatively benefit, right? Or it has negative benefits on the ones that they doing the work on, just so they can benefit. I'm so glad I'm alive in this time in history to see more people actually come out with their stories about it, because it was these same type of, let's not even call them sins yet, acts that led to great destruction in the past. Whether people want to believe or admit it was God that destroyed towns and things and cities and countries and armies and stuff in the past or not, it did happen. Some of it can be historically proven. It's just a matter of if they believe God was involved with it or not, especially when it comes to sexual immortality. If we don't know how out of control it can get, you read about the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, because it's just been on my heart even more so lately, just to go back and research and read it more for myself. And it's crazy, just a little bit you see about it. They had children in bondage. We're talking about Sodom and Gomorrah, the place that Lot and his wife were residing in, and left. They left by the command of God, because had they not, they would have been caught up in the terrors that happened there. Once God decided he was ready to destroy what he was seeing in his sight. Now, let's talk about that for a second, because imagine God telling you to leave a place, leave a place, leave a place. Just know, even in the Bible stories, the prophets wouldn't know why God told them to move, okay? But with this specific story, had they not, I'm talking about, there was no way they was going to miss the destruction. He sent a whole fire, everything to destroy that town. He said he wasn't going to leave, wasn't a pillar going to be standing, wasn't a soul going to be breathing when he got through. Because when God speaks like that, he means it. And let's say Lot family and his wife didn't believe him, because his wife actually ended up getting out with him. It's just that I think she was commanded, she was directed. Whatever we do, once we take off and leave, do not look back. And a lot of us do that. We look back, we get distracted by the past, we get distracted by ex, we get distracted by something a job did 5 months ago, and we look back. And looking back today can be compared to a distraction. That's all it is. It never helps. Unless you're looking back to reflect for positive and reasons, it just doesn't help us to look back. I don't see where God was wrong with that, but okay, so I just want to speak on, give my reaction to what I feel like is going on here in society today. Especially, remember we talked about the whore of Babylon being described in the Bible as idol worship. It's not a specific person, and it's like some weirdo is trying to make any woman look so sexual. Like, shout out to Cassie real quick, for example. It's like some of us do grieve for her right now, and how her story had to come out, the truth had to come out, just for her to try to receive justice, okay? And some people are willing to surrender the truth for justice. This is how it works, okay? And they be hoping that 1, 2, 3, 4 truths will hurt you enough to where you can't see your justice. That's how it works, okay? But real justice, you can't, somebody who's been prepared and trained to receive real justice, you cannot humiliate them with the truth. That's just a part of justice. Like, that has to come out, okay? If that person was ugly, that person was fat, that person kissed 5 people 5 years ago, it all has to come out. Overall, the ending goal was justice, right? And it's just sad what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah, and I'm referencing to it because even the scripture said that the times of today, I don't want to say it's today specifically, but it would come a time that cities, towns, places, they would be worse, WORSE, than the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. So I just wanted to go into detail a little more about the type of immortalities, acts, blasphemy, things they were doing against God. No prophet, teacher, I don't care. I don't care what text you take me to, was ever openly received. They might have been just talking about the ancient old text, teaching them the old fashioned way. But when you step in and give, you can tell when a word is from God. I promise. It's like straight resistance comes. Because if you just like a false teacher, probably, what is there to believe in? People gonna know you lying. But that when they know it come from God, just notice how. Look at the resistance. It'd be an automatic battle or war or something. Because they're not refuting you per se. They're not downing you. They're downing that word of God. And don't let people hide that from y'all. God when it come from him, through a prophet, through a dream, however, and you try to share that, just like Lot did. Lot probably gave them people many, many warnings, and those warnings weren't from him, okay? Because how would Lot have the power to sit there and burn everything from the inside out? And I mean not leave a crumb. It's like weird, it's like trying to fight a battle against a higher intelligence. And I'm not talking about AI. A higher intelligence would be an older intelligence, and it deserves its respect because that intelligence has survived how long now? And I'm just talking about that intelligence of Christ consciousness, of Christ awareness. Straight up, there's no other way for me to put it. Because like no matter what religion it is, they've heard or taught about or talked about the whore of Babylon. They've talked about who Babylon might even be. People are looking into it the right way. If you ask me, I just say we got to break it down even more. Because what does it benefit us to know who Babylon is? You go through all this text, look on the maps, the ancient maps, and study all this historical stuff, and even maybe come to your own conclusion about who and where Babylon is. But Babylon could be any place. It could be any person. It's a place that has openly accepted and allowed these evil sins in these ways. What are some of those immoral sins again? Greed. Number one at the top of the list. Like right now, you got a lot of communities, places, groups, jobs know that greedy stuff be going on. People be doing stuff out of greed, and their greed allows it to go on. They tell themselves, well, if I speak up about this or do something about this, how many more are going to come forth? And it's just like, time out for that. Because you silence one, you silencing a whole nation sometimes, a whole generation. To me, Babylon is any place desolate of the Lord's grace and mercy. A place is something people don't even find important until it happens. Just like with Noah, nobody believed him until something happened. Just like with Jonah. Now, Jonah is the story I actually like referring to because people only talk about the stories of the prophets where people did not actually take heed to the warnings. But as we know in the story of Jonah, we actually applaud Jonah for doing what God told him to do. Even Moses, even though they're two different people, two different stories, it was the same logic. Because they do say that God is the same God. He don't change. It's the same logic. I send you to deliver a message. It's not have nothing to do with you, whether other people receive that message or not. With the prophet, it's like overstood. They can't get around not delivering a message God sends. Whether that's through letter, we know the brother Paul wrote letters. He would be on ship, in prison, going through different things in his life, still making sure to do what he was commanded by God, writing those letters, preaching to those churches. So no matter how that message gets out, I just say a lot more of us will be held accountable if something like judgment Day is real. we would be held accountable for the things that God has told us or shown us or that we heard, and we just sat back on it. We didn't even try to extend the message, right? There's like so a million ways to communicate. Even body language, they says body language has a language. If you throw up a peace sign, somebody knows you mean peace in that moment. You throw up a gang sign, that means something. You throw up an Illuminati sign, they say that means something. You know what I mean? So when God send these signs like, hey, I don't like this, or this is getting out of control, or he sent a person, that's a sign in itself. He sent a person to say it's time to clean up this or that. They never did. In the Bible, they usually do not accept it. God never promised that they will, but the prophets, the evangelists, the preacher, the teacher's job is to see that message is put across somehow. So I was just clarifying something when it comes to me too. It was never, ever, ever in our job description as prophets of God, messengers of God, inspired speakers of God to try and control the reception of that message from the people. Lot didn't do it. Moses didn't do it. What God shows through his prophets is his grace, his love, his mercy, like how he'll extend the same message over and over again, maybe through that person. But he never put those people in position to try to control the reactions. Let's say the reactions is the people start acting crazy. They start protesting. They start reporting. They start doing all these things. God never said that wasn't going to happen. But extending the message, you're in the clear because you did what God told you to do. See, obedience brings in a protection out of this world. I hear people spiritually talking. They be like, this person's unprotected, that person's unprotected. And it's probably because they haven't obeyed God, not in one area of their life. It's like, who do you expect? Even if you go pay some people on the streets for protection, you're going to have to kind of obey what the guidance they give you here and there, or you're just wasting your money. So this is a good topic or whatever. I will reshare it on my community post like I've been saying I'm going to do. I was noticing somehow if I just directly go live from YouTube like this, I still see like changes and plays with my analytics and views and viewers. But when I used a third party streaming site like StreamYard earlier, I even paid for it. And people don't know boundaries. They just don't know boundaries, because why would you still think you can play with a person analytics? They're investing in third party streaming sites, they're investing in websites, they're investing in Shopify. That business owner, she might have proof that she's investing in everything she needs to just to do what she needs to do. The Wi-Fi, the devices, and you just have like over territorial people that feel like, they don't look at it as your work. They look at just you and they want to take over. I'm going to incorporate that with my message today, because that's the type of stuff was actually going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. It might be new to me. I made a post yesterday how the quote said, old to me, new to y'all. That quote, though, can be a whole new quote when you look at it vice versa, because something that's new to you could be old to somebody else, or old to somebody else and new to you, right? So that was just new to me, to see people get just like extremely, extremely over territorial. And literally, I'm not just talking about my life. Like, you witness people be like this over their boyfriends, a can of soda, a box of raisins. I talked about this story before, how I witnessed a couple lady girls fight in jail over a box of raisins, right? It's just it was traumatizing. At the time it was, because I had never been. And then now you're trying to accept that you're in there, sitting there and do your time. Maybe by day 3 or 4, a girl was already ready to come down people's necks over a box of raisins. And it sounds stupid until you're in that situation and you know the value of a box of raisins when you're in that position. And maybe she had more than one. I think she thought it was me at the beginning because we actually shared a similar cell. I think she didn't. No, that day, it's just crazy. I overheard them arguing about it. I was like in the TV area or at the tables out in the community area, and she was fussing about that in the cell. But it showed me even then, like I'm not saying you could be too overtorial over your food, because sometimes you got to be like that, especially in survival mode. When has a person being over territorial been deemed as psychologically crazy versus that person might have been through something, so they're protecting their stuff a little by the time you met them? It's like, man, all a person can wish then is, man, I wish I would have met you either in between or before you were over territorial. Because once a person is already that, who is God to tell a person to lessen their defenses, let their guard down, let people in? I'm telling you, once you do turn a person into that, where they feel like they be over territorial, over protective, over guarding, there's nothing you can do to break that. That's a state of mind. That's like a part of your soul that's broken, but can be used as a strength if you choose to. And I did a short about this already before as an inspirational quote. I said, if you've ever told a parent that they are too overprotective, you are a part of the problem. You don't get to sit back in the stands and say, oh, ha, 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 that person's child is out of control. If you know at any point in the past or the present or the future, you might be one of those that be actually telling kids or parents that that parent shouldn't be as protective as they are. Excuse me, y'all, that came out of nowhere. Let me spit this up. That's the truth, cleansing me up from the inside. Let me spit this out. Yep, that came out of nowhere. It sure did. I just don't believe people should do that. Feel like those are those examples I gave when I talked about what was the name of that topic back then? I'm gonna start sharing some of my older live streams too, right here. You guys get excited. It's okay. If you hit that subscribe bell too, you're gonna receive every time we make a new post, upload, or live, just like this. But on the old stream, I had talked about that before. Like, I don't even like using the word narcissist. I call it God complex. That's what's wrong with their mentalities. And ever since it seemed like I openly came out and said that, somebody suddenly wanted me to look, which we know is just an image. Tetasheri is at a place in her life she's not chasing image anymore. She feels like what she's meant to attract is going to find her, and what she's meant and what is meant to attract me is actually going to come through my path. But yeah, ever since I openly came out and spoke and said, oh my God, it seems like people are suffering from God complex mentality. And I even gave a breakdown on what God complex mentality means to me. What things I would start doing if I even notice I'm showing some of those qualities. I'm going to run and get help. I don't need nobody to stand around me and say I need help. If I ever start feeling like I'm God, I know I need help. I was wondering what's wrong with other people, But I describe God complex mentality as it's like a mentality that people wake up with every day, I think people are spoiled into it. Nobody just is born feeling like they're God. So yeah, we could talk about narcissistic patterns and parents, but what you can't continue to deny is that narcissism came from somewhere, and everybody that's suffering from it, it was embedded from another place. This is why some battles I feel like are God's battles. Why are humans trying to step in if you're not trying to help people rid themselves of narcissistic personality traits or God complex mentality traits, what are you really doing? How can you stop these cycles? This was God's battle. This was God's war. God was the one that came for. God was the one that was persecuted. His son was persecuted on the cross. What y'all mean? And people jump in these battles. Now, I just jump in the topic discussions about them. I'm not finna go out here and try to change anybody from being narcissist, because I'm not even a therapist. You know, I'm not gonna get out here. I'm passionate about it. I mean, so I can't say what might not happen, but I cannot spend my whole days. I look up one day, I'm old, and I done spend all my days trying to turn narcissists back normal. Like I said, it all comes from somewhere. Nobody wakes up controlling. Controlling is one thing, but your God complex mentality is a step above controlling, because this person feels like they're a god. They feel like they are God or they are a god. And I say both fall into the categories of God complex mentality. Because it's okay to call yourself a god or a goddess until you're out here trying to be the all in all point of contact. It's like you're stepping in and saying, "Oh, just move out the way, karma. I'm a goddess. I'll fix this." Karma been here longer than any one of us. And yes, there are religious communities that rise up against me sometimes in the way I teach things, and they be like, karma, there's no such thing as karma. That's just not something I'm willing to believe. Every religion across the globe believes in karma. Like, what are they talking about? Karma, that one cycle where that same energy or that same action or those same words you happen to tell somebody else somehow finds their way back to you in a way that you can't deny that is karma. That's how we know karma is real. Too many people have admitted to suffering from it. I'm still one of those people today. If I feel like I'm going through karma for something, just because I speak on it out loud never gave somebody the permission to say, yeah, girl, I heard her say it in her house. It's karma. Because some things you think is karma ain't. Here's what I mean when I say that. It's just somebody who enforced that on you. They felt like that should be your karma. And you can tell when they do it because it resembles so much of what you went through. And anything that makes you repeat trauma is not karma to me. Okay? Karma don't just wake up in the morning like, yep, I want that person to go through this again and again and again and again and again and again. I'm sorry. That's just not how that goes. Karma has always been described. Karma might kiss me on the cheek in a minute. Like, thank you for introducing me correctly. Finally, somebody did it. Yeah, karma has always made its way in its life. It was, let's not take that from her. She was always been the world's greatest teacher. Now, karma is even a female symbolic presence that they want to demonize suddenly. Because I wonder how many inspirational stories are out there where people actually became a greater version of themselves after a season or an act of karma happened to them, when it comes from the true divine and not just somebody out here, you know what I'm saying, put themselves in a place of a god, a king, a queen, and they're like, it's crazy. You could tell the power hungry ones because they just get to doing so much stuff that's actually not to their self. They're doing it to people. That's what shows you the difference between a God complex mentality person and a narcissist versus somebody who's just trying to get through life. How are you not a leader, they have control, they have power and stuff like that. That's why I'm using them for example. But how are you not a leader not giving orders? You're going to have to get orders. But as a narcissist, a God complex person, you are spending more of your time creating orders to get your own way. And it oftentimes, like, the orders and stuff you created are not for you. They're for so many others. You're cooking up another concoction, another spell, another agenda, so you feel like somebody learns their lesson. And I just want to thank God right now that I allow him to be my God and not people, because Only God in hell knows what I would truly, how bad it could have got. Because you have people sitting around with journal tablets and notebooks trying to conspire what your karma should be. It's crazy. Don't get me wrong, I applaud that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why I speak on it. It seems like the devil, because it's a scripture about that. God says, I know the plans I have for you to prosper you, and I know the plans I have for everybody that I created. I know. Now let's think about it. He says, I know the plans. I know the plans that I made for you. Okay? They don't mean you knew them. They don't mean the ones who be out here trying to activate karma on people knew them. I have to watch myself too, because just because you want to see something, or you feel like a person deserves to go through something, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even God like that. God never needed anybody to sit around and babysit or watch over his word. Just to babysit his word. Like, okay, let me make sure he does what he says he's going to do. You can tell they do it with God. They try to do it to us. I want to sit back and see how God does this. I'm going to babysit his word. Mm-hmm. He did say watch and pray. Babysit? I don't think so. Babysit, like, that word just did something I don't like. I'm finna pop it. It deserves karma. It deserves, That's what people start to look like. People try to call people, like, I never thought they should go in the same sentence, calling a person a whore and controlling. Because, like, how much control could you really say at the end of the day that a whore, a quote-unquote whore has? You don't leave room for her to have any, but you want us to believe she's controlling and she's a whore. Like, come on, man. A woman like that got a few problems on her hands, don't she? She can only be one or the other. A controlling one? It's just crazy. What control does she have? Because, like, to just call somebody that's just a title. But we all know what that really is. And that would mean she belongs to me. I love the way my story is right now. Every day, actually, the more I learn, it's like I can hear what others say about it, but I also hear God and what he tells me about it. I mean, because look at the glory in something like that. 10 to 20 people, 30, 40 people that really deep down inside believe they own you. Like, you are theirs. And they walk in this light. And then God himself coming to redeem you in front of all of them and say, no, she's not yours. And anything else God have to say about it. Because, like, why don't we see more teachings about this? They got to come and speak on and correct everything you say. But it's not too many doing teachings and preachings about God's love for the whore. How he actually desires her to come to him too. And it's not like the Kevin Gates and Drika situation, which I'm not speaking down on either one of them. I'm using it for example because it was also a trending topic. How people, not Drika, the other girl, Brittany Renner. Drika is his wife. Ex-wife, one of them. I know for sure she was his wife at one point. Shout out to the Gates, though. I hope to see them back together. Maybe they need to hear it, but they really were, to me, a good, great example of a wholesome, like, hey, we both didn't come from perfect places. We both didn't make it perfectly as well. We probably are not faithful to each other all the time, but as far as them feeling like soulmates and connecting on that level and doing that openly, letting the world see them do that any chance they could, we respected it. Some of us still hope to see them back together. Because, I mean, black love is still beautiful. I say people just had tuned in more on talking about him being Muslim or him claiming to be Muslim. And here's my reaction to that. Okay? They be like doing the same thing, trying to judge what they see how he talks or the things he does, even if he has millions of dollars. They get really sensitive saying, well, we don't feel like he is really a Muslim because he also talks native spirituality sometimes and he just confuses us. If I started going through something similar, that's already a good person to look up to because he seems to not let that get to him at all. Like, hey, I'm not finna stop being a worldwide renowned rapper because you feel some type of way about my religion. That's just what it is. But see, y'all, they're still trying it. They're still trying it. Trying to put what I said on my streams is you can't put how a person's talent and personality, those are two different things. Your talent and your off-screen personality. Tom Cruise, for example, was one they used to talk about a lot, who was more than different from who he was maybe on set or in front of the world, right? Once you get fans, it's just something they care about, and you got to let them do that. While also keeping your faith as sturdy as possible, not losing yourself in the madness of opinions. That's where I do give people with fame and notoriety who have survived this a lot of more accolades than any channel they'll probably ever hear do. I talk about it a lot. Do 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 do. Yes. Just trying to talk about, because they already broke up supposedly. Y'all, as we see, I don't think that relationship got anywhere near to a year. But at the same time, we can't speak on these people's life. We don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. Just because they show somebody publicly, number one, don't mean they actually together. That'd be a show sometimes too. They're together on camera for us. We don't know who really together, in love, been in love for years like they say, and not. But people were so quick to say, oh, I knew that wasn't going to work out. And then she came out and did a public video. She was like, she just want to be single and people should stay out of her business. But she did a video because people didn't see her wearing the hijab anymore. Like, she just went, actually, she has an afro. I don't know what she was trying to say, but she has her hair more in a natural style. Her natural hair out, showing poppy, silken and glowing without anything covering her head. People just wanted to know. So while you were covering your head, was it under the request of that man you were dating? Or did you, at the time she told everybody she was into that now. She was into that religion because she wanted to be. And then she stepped out of it. And my reaction to that is like, okay. I don't know. That's why she not really getting much reaction. All people is saying they feel like, the whole time she was being fake and it's not actually respecting that religion that she was claiming to walk in. They said that was fake. Like, how you gonna be wearing a hijab and then now you're back to being, you. They said that's not how their religion work. And they be talking about Kevin Gates too. They just be like, he not following the rules of the religion right. We don't know that. They was just saying, though, how you practice this and practice that. Like, who started this anyway, that you can only follow one practice or belief in something? I don't know. Because what if you believe in reincarnation and death and life all at the same time? They all three real, just like earth, wind, fire. Like, all these elements should teach us. They all just as real as the next. So I don't know what I just said there. It's like I just said something made me think. But if you got earth, wind, fire, and water, and they all have, it's like a different power within all the ones I just named. A different truth. A different truth. Let me put it like that. Fire is fire, water is water, earth is earth, wind is wind. I feel like it's just like that with religion. All of them are different but significant. That's a fair way for me to say it. And no, my opinions are not the most accurate, and I don't try to say them just to. It shows. I don't even know if I want to speak on it. It shows. Like I give my opinions for my real. I said, "Oops, we weren't doing it for real." I learned that wasn't as trendy as I thought. This is what I mean. Giving your reaction and commentary from a genuine place, like your actual, not saying what you think the people will laugh at, what they gonna agree with, what they gonna hit the like button on. You just saying like from the heart, and you putting it out there, right? I said, oh, I didn't know. I said, I guess I was doing it wrong. We're supposed to say what the people like. Cause when I was doing that, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Just more talking about what's trending all the time. And staying in the circle of the latest news and gossip tea. When I was doing that, baby, the views and likes and it was everywhere. now, now that you're talking about, no, this is my real commentary reaction, like comment opinion about stuff. Everybody want to be quiet. Everybody want to look the other way. I ain't nobody. You know what I mean? But I won't just say something to be popular. I won't just cover a story so I can get a few views. If I talked about it, it moved me, it inspired me somehow. It made me think about something, or it related to my life somehow. I can say that first. Any reaction commentary videos that I never did. They just mad because I won't get on here and talk about my personal life. No, we'll let them have it. Because that's the whole point. You know what I mean? Who whole life is just a struggle. You're not gonna ever live like that. You're alive, but you're not gonna get to live like. A life is just that. It's a life. Living, you gotta actually, that's an action. Like, is that life living? Is that life living? Or they just focus on their struggle, talking about their struggle every day. I swear. So I guess that was the point of them creating the struggles, throwing it on some of us, so you could come here and talk about it. First, they was gonna hold that over my head, like, oh, she talks about celebrities, but she don't want to talk about her life. No, I got a million other things I can talk about outside of celebrities, actually, like wholesome topics. You know, some people said they met a date and it didn't work out because what they call it, they didn't have conversation. They couldn't make conversation, or they couldn't hold a conversation. That is just so crazy to me. You don't have to be the smartest, most intelligent person in the world to hold a conversation. A person who can't hold a conversation just ain't been introduced to enough to me or something. Like, what's wrong with holding a conversation, right? I wouldn't say nothing wrong with them either. You don't have to talk to everybody. Usually that is a sign. Y'all not a clique. Y'all not a clique. Y'all not compatible. It's even like friends. This don't just go for men and women in platonic relationships. Dating relationship, intimate ones. This is any type of conversation. Like, if you can't hold one, I never thought about this. Something is wrong. Because that's one thing for you. You just can't hold one. If you just choosing not to speak, that's another. And I want people to like understand the difference. Like, oh, I can hold a conversation if I can't do nothing else. And I promise it don't have to be about nobody else's life. So now you just playing with that person work as an author. They a podcaster, a reviewer, a product tester. This is a part of what they have to do. Communicate, speak on something outside of themselves. I was just making it known and clear. Like, I can talk about a million other things outside of myself and celebrities. That's what's crazy about a good communicator or somebody that can hold a conversation. It's like, you want to talk about Hawaiian Punch? Let's talk about Hawaiian Punch. Let's talk about how many flavors, what's in it, how long it's been here, the person who created it, and where he was inspired from. Literally, I can hold a conversation. Did he have sisters and brothers or two? Was he an only child? the creator of Hawaiian Punch or Kool-Aid. You name it, I can hold a conversation about it. That's the point. You can't make it one-sided and be like, well, how would she like it if we talked about her? Because that person chose to, at one point of their career, talk about celebrities. Like, come on, man. When I say talk about them, we don't even mean just like talk about them in a negative way. Like, you just brought them up. They felt like you not in the right money class to be talking about certain people. I already know what it was. They probably looked at my channel and said, she ain't no Tasha K. What is she doing? But I can talk about a million other things, I promise, outside of like celebrities and idols. And it is what it is. Because if I can't communicate. I shouldn't even be doing what I'm doing. If all I can talk about is mess and gossip and tea, I'm not a good communicator. I mean, y'all don't have to agree, but leave your opinions in the comments. Because, see, talking always leads to something else. Okay? They say communication ruled a nation for a whole reason. No doors open, closed, shut, propped open, without some words of communication that went forth at some point. You know? That's the really bigger point. It's hurtful in a way, but I got a story like how just because that was the devil's desire, somebody else's desire, it could never be mine. Like, if you learn how to communicate, all out from there, all the person can wish is that you can't or that you didn't know how to, and try to taint that where they can. But as an author, I just wanted to understand it first, like a writer of any sort, a ghost writer, a songwriter, a film writer, medical writer, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I can't write about more than one subject, what am I doing? And if you can't speak about more than one subject, you can't communicate. I don't care how you put it. We talked about how my baby being loud. We talked about how body language also is a form of communication. They talk about how, like, cause harlots, whatever you want to call them, harlots and concubines, man, it's been so many new names for the term whore. It's crazy. Some terms just stayed the same over the years, but when it comes to the term whore, they got so many other names for it. It's really crazy to think about, but overall, each and every one of the names supposed to mean the same thing. I think we could all agree on it, but it's like, really, they all don't, because you would first have to understand fully the definition of what a whore is. I'd rather go to the biblical text, because, like, as we talk about today, it really is true. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole sexist thing in itself. You know? It's like you don't see as many maybe gay people or trans or people of different sex being called a whore. I'm not saying they don't, but it's going to be more only one specific species they affiliate that with. And it's the women. It's the woman. It's like, why even speak on it, right? Going back to communication. But it is her who carries that. So as God put it, okay, since y'all understand that so well, do you understand all the ways that a person can really be horned in my eyes? Because in God's eyes, it is other ways. Being greedy in itself is a form of whoredom. It's an entryway to it. Being greedy always starts whoredom, you know, because whoever got out there and did it for nothing. And even in the Bible days, if they were going to do it, they were out there to feed their families and to provide for themselves. Yep, they sure did. Even the kings, like, it don't matter, the priests, different ones of them, I know people don't want to talk about it, but yep, they probably had a side kick, a side trick, even back then. But at the end of all the side kick trick stuff, then she's a whore. You know what I mean? And if nobody else, Christ, God Himself, He already understand the depths of that. I'm learning more from Him as I go. So anybody would more call a whore experience, whether it's a man or a woman, experienced in one type of area of their life. But I didn't like how a person could come out here and show you all these other experiences, you know what I mean? And they'll still say those experiences do not equate, or they're not as heightened as your experiences over there. They like, nah, let us see that resume. It's just kind of getting personal in your business. And how if you open that door and allow the devil to do that, he gonna do just that. Y'all might say, well, the devil know all our business. There's no way to get away from that. For real, while you're committing the acts, he's right there. In my life, I just feel like God was right there too. You know what I mean? Just as personal as Satan will get about your business, about your lifestyle, about the choices you make, I feel like God will too. He can be right there. It does, let me speak on him highly and correctly, but the Bible does tell us certain sin stinks in his nostrils. Our nostrils are the two holes beneath our nose. And we know if we smell something unpleasant, you might not want to be around it. Straight up. If you could change the situation, if it's your home or something, you might clean up or try to find the smell so you can get it right. But if it's just like an environment you don't control, which God is in control, but He don't control everybody. Like, everybody got self-will. If you ask me, people just been out here doing what they do. Submitting to culture, submitting to religion, submitting to whatever it is they submit in life. That was what He was describing with the worshiping of the idols. He is in control, and they think that means what? He's in control. He's definitely in control of himself first. How you gonna want all control over you plus God? That's where you start to see God complex mentality. I would say if you look at it exactly how I just described it, you can't miss it, no matter who you're looking at. If that person seems to have a lot of control over their life, boom, give them that. But then look at the next level. Do they be trying to have like God-like control too over people? To admire, inspire, reflect, talk about, discuss the goodness of God, and trying to actually be that over people is two different things. That's where his control does flex itself. Like, he will flex that muscle. Like, how you already, I done gave you that much. You know what I'm saying? That ain't even grace, mercy. I guess it is. It's grace and mercy. You have whole, full blown self-will. From the time the toddler, the little tot begins to learn how to walk, that's its self-will. His or her self-will. Or animals too, you know, that's their self-will. If you don't want, if you're not desiring to walk at all or crawl, or you're not gonna ever do it. That's crazy. They if you pay attention in the physical, it's really telling us a lot. You know what I'm saying? If in the natural it seemed like a lot of quote unquote whores are being attacked, well, why wouldn't we think this could happen in the, and the way that God look at what a whore might be totally different from how you look at it. And the way God looks at whoredom, and if we was just talking about karma a second ago, if He really sat people in the same seat and showed them like, no, now to me, this is how you're a whore. Why you worried about Sally, Jack, and Ashley? If God sat each and every one of us down and showed us, I bet He could. It's just some things I was going to try to give examples of. where you're definitely whoring in his eyes. Nobody has time to call anybody that. Because we're already in that place, there's others just taking advantage of it. You know, where they like, well, we might as well continue to show them the whole culture and the whore way of life and the whore way of dressing and the whore way of eating, because they're already at each other's necks and they can't wait to call their own a whore. Why not promote whoredom even more? It seems like this is what gets their rocks off. This is what they all fight and live for. Yeah. If you don't have to work too hard, if people already love the culture of whoredom, they already have a million idols. They already, see who they see when they want to see them, go where they go when they want to go, and then God might not look at it how the world do, like, oh, that's a man, that ain't a whore, honey. That's a man. That's what men do. That's that one quote that I never did agree with. They just want me to look like this or something. I never, even if I never spoke on it, like I just never understood that. You want me to, you want to teach me what a whore is, but you're saying that any species that can have multiple quantities of any one given thing at one time. First of all, you expect me not to believe that's greedy. Number two, even if a king do it, that would just mean he flexing his power, like he's doing it because he want to. He don't have to. You don't have to have no 1,000 wives. That is just greedy. Oh, but anyways, they just be like, that's a man, men. I'm not a sexist person, because people have different preferences in general. They don't want just men. Maybe they want a woman. Maybe they want 2 or 3 or 4 men. Okay? I was just saying, to me, it equates to you calling somebody else doing it a whore. Like me, I don't play like that, because some of us really do come from big families, right? And in black culture, they assume if you come from a big family, somebody was just a whore. It can't never be that you was married, you had a divorce, in your marriage you had 2, in your second marriage you had your last son. Which is some people real stories. They actually were married through the conception of each and every one of their children. Just because you see them, okay, the marriage didn't work out, they just automatically deserve whiplashing and punishment, and they have to be some type of whore. In the black culture, yes, that's a whole image they're still trying to sell to people. Like, see, just look at the image and this is what it is. No, let us observe the image. Kind of like at the art galleries and the museums. You don't rush a person through each exhibit. Let them actually study it for a while. Literally. Every single one of those black images you show them, let them study it for themselves too. Don't try to stand there and teach them about the painting. Let them take in the painting and the breathtaking art in it, the image that you're trying to sell them. Let them view it for themselves. That is godlike mentality, once again, to sit there and try to control the image. This person got a whole set of eyes they sell, probably even got glasses on, and you're still trying to control how they see something. We just have too much of that going on. I promise I did a topic similar to this a little over 3 years ago. I said it seemed to be a problem, people having a godlike complex mentality. That's just a problem. Like, they would be trying to control things that are unnatural to try to control. And when you do that too much to something, now you're controlling it. That image can no longer speak for itself. You keep speaking. You know what I mean? That piece of artwork can no longer be just enjoyed by the people who came there to see it, because the gallery owner just keeps talking. It's a paper right there for the people to read on their own. Find out who the artist was on their own, and you still right there trying to control the image. Maybe they saw this years ago. I'm just catching on like, hey, if we control the image, we got the people. Others said if you control somebody's mind, you got them. It ain't even a mind. It ain't even a mind, because the mind is strong. You can't always control somebody's mind. So what do they go to next? Their image. But you can only control that image as far as the onlookers allow you. Because it's like, why are you trying to control what they see in that picture? You might see a horse face. Y'all know those illusion photos? I like looking at them. Because it'll be like, what animal do you see in this picture? And I might have found a butterfly, but later it shows me it was a bird. The whole time it was a bird. It'll point it out too. And you'd be like, man, I didn't even see that. I saw a butterfly. Why do y'all think that is? It shows you something about image and illusion right there. And that we don't all see the same image the same. And no matter how much they've shown this in school, people still grow up and try to control image. Some careers, that's their job. I didn't say it's right or not, but there are some real jobs out there that require the worker to actually control the image. I ain't gonna give the examples. You guys think about it. There are jobs that's actually what they get paid to do. But funnily, I said funnily, if that's even a word, it's laughable. Now everybody wants to be in the business of controlling image. We even have new tools and features that help us do this. We talked about AI on that stream yesterday. You guys feel free to check that out. I'm gonna share it again. I'm just trying to keep the content pretty much fluent, regular over here for you guys. Definitely want to keep you guys entertained. It's just that we're using a new topics and new content to do that. Over here, you won't just get entertained though. You probably will pick up some things that you might want to go research or inquire about yourself, and that's totally fine. That's what we're here to do. But yeah, anything that you gotta have, like a million women, a million men, a phone full of phone numbers. You got a God here, a God there. That's now horn. They say some of this stuff takes place in the spirit before we even actually, like, we thought it. You think it comes as a thought first, like, oh, I'm sexually attracted to that person, or I'm gonna go do this to that person. People don't just do it. If they are just repulsively acting, we're in even more trouble. People used to need an attraction to you. You know what I'm saying? They have you so caught up in the image, but behind the scenes, they're messing with any and everything themselves. And they want you to keep a certain image. Why they go do it? Like, it's weird. Even knowing that the image I choose is the integrity and accountability that I can show, and authenticity. That's it. The image part, I've been gave up on that, man. As y'all see, they're doing any and everything today to, like, control the image of anything we look at. And they say that influence and peer pressure and stuff ain't real. It's very real. You know why they call it pressure? Anything with too much pressure either builds or decreases. But when we talk about a building pressure, that's what peer pressure is. That's not something somebody just invited you to do one time. Peer pressure is they keep on and keep on and keep on. And then you're going to start to feel pressured into doing it. That's why they call it that. Like, well, my friend tried it, I want to. That's not really peer pressure then. That's that self-will again. That people don't give God enough credit for it. Because, like, we wouldn't be having these kind of discussions if everybody was the same. There would be nothing to talk about. And they're trying to take the fun out of it. I still see that it's fun. That we're all different. That we're all unique in our own ways. We come in all different sizes, shape, and form. Why is that? I'm still grateful for that. It's like, who trying to make us all the same? Put control where it's needed, regulate it, and leave it alone. When you got too many people trying to be God, man, we've been seeing some stuff out here. Early deaths, early sicknesses, early babies, you name it. People already got self-will. Don't try to control their image. The image tells us, yeah, you can't get a career in the house and do all of that. They're not teaching most kids. They can do that now if they want to. You know, when you make everybody believe, well, the parent has to be there to the age of 17 and it has to be a certain way, then a certain person's image is suddenly tarnished. You know what I mean? Because that person's image did not follow how the other images looked. I look at this, all his images. Ain't that funny? We got two. Some people believe three. And people still, they want to see whatever you show them. Oh, okay, you said that's a picture of Mona Lisa. Okay, let's go to the next picture. Oh, okay, that's a picture by Leonardo too. Okay, that's the Lord's Supper. Let's keep, you're not taking no time to take the picture in, the image, enjoy his art a little bit, but you feel like you should be first in line to describe that same image to another person. Another person say, how was the art gallery? What did you see? All they have to go off of is what you saw. Whole time they don't know you only glanced at it. You didn't even read the captions that came with the painting. You didn't take no picture, no still pictures of it to prove what you're talking about the image or nothing. Anyways, if photos are gonna be more in our faces like that, photos, videos, we may as well get real about it. Start looking at them. That's what they're forcing us to do. The only way that's even beneficial, trying to force somebody to see all these videos and pictures, the only way that's possible to do overall is to control the image or the image taker. Period. It's not, I don't look at this as dimensions. I look at this as images. If I see an image of an alien with my own eyes, I'ma believe it. If you show me an image of one, I can question it. You know, it's real simple. They just trying to be God and narcissists, and you know, you can only talk about something so much. Karma is not just sickness and death. I'm sorry to break that down to people. It would be more of a lesson teacher. It would come to that person in a way. Karma's intention has always been to teach people a lesson. But did we ever think that there are some people that catch on to those lessons and live the better life they ever had in their life after they catch on? So we're not going to make karma the devil all of a sudden. I'm not. I appreciate it because sometimes you actually don't know how something feel. I'm just sitting here openly talking about karma that might not even be normal to people. Like, who loves karma? I've learned to love her. That's crazy. Who loves a skunk? Who loves a possum? Right? Who loves these undesirable creatures? Until karma come into their life and kind of show them a little bit more about who they are, and they find a new love. They make a bond with karma herself. Karma like, you must ain't got no friends. Nobody wants to be friends with me. You know what I'm saying? And y'all actually become good friends. Other people like, she seemed so been walking with karma for a while, but still, how did they look at that image? Right? Like, yep, that's what karma's still there. Girl, her and Karma is having tea. She let Karma braid her hair. Karma is actually picking her up tomorrow at 9 for a basketball game. You know what I'm saying? So I think it is possible. You know what I'm saying? To look at things in a new light, to something that you was once enemies with or feared or ran from. Y'all the best of friends. People just don't know. So much so, Karma like, You like, Karma, I'm not telling you what to do, but Buddy over there is, and Karma like, I'm already on it. You know how I am, Tetasheri. You know what we went through. You see? And that's how you end up growing in life too. I'm talking about it symbolically because just about everything is symbols and images. That's all it is. Anything else you add to it or subtract, you just might want to assess a little deeper. Karma, I just didn't like the way people started demonizing that. It's supposed to come through every time and teach a lesson. And then people do catch on to those lessons, and we don't talk about it enough. People pick up at the end of that lesson, it was 30 gold coins. On the other side of that lesson, it was a new walk of life for them, you know. And it's like, well, I want to follow her. Well, if people eyes gotta see, let them see. I want to follow her and see where karma take her. As if when they see, they're gonna have a new heart for karma, like me. But I am the first one I've ever heard describe it this way. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I start hearing other people say they became friends with karma too, I'm saying it for the record now. Like, it wouldn't shock me. I knew it was possible to do things like make whole peace. When you make peace with something, you make peace with it. Make whole peace with your demons. I don't know about making peace with others, but the ones, like I said, that you felt like, you fought for a long time. Making peace. Peace didn't mean we like each other, we hang out every day like me and Karma do. I might imagine going, depression came to defeat you. Depression respects you now. That's all. It didn't mean depression is your man, that y'all best friends, and everybody gonna catch y'all together today. But that don't mean when I see depression across the street, I won't wave. Like, we on that level now. Like, all right, stay over there. But hey, I see you. I recognize you when I see you, and I'm actually, I ain't gonna say respect your presence. I'm show it like, hey, it's me, Tetasheri. Look at me now. I'm standing over here in the sun, smiling. You know what I'm saying? I might not have everything I want, but what's up, depression? How you doing? I'm still around depressing people, and that's it. I can only respect depression for who it is. But the balance in universal law was also learning that depression would also have to respect me back. If I don't get that far into the knowledge, I never learn it. And that's why I say there's nothing wrong with karma. I would be closer to karma than depression, trust me. And nobody asked me to make friends with karma. That happened naturally. You was running from her at first. You thought she was crazy, the way she come at people, or whatever, however I judged karma in the past. But she's not something you can run from. These hackers and locators think they're something. Karma been finding people, man. Been tracking people down. Been on phone call. Karma, she been doing that longer than and better than any human ever think they can do. I don't know. So I ain't trying to scare people. I was just saying I feel like spiritually I'm on a level I don't fear karma. You can try to put that in my faces anytime you want. I'm gonna be able to tell when it's they don't have to believe me, Lord, but I'm gonna be able to tell when it's karma. If I know her presence, her scent, her when she come through the room, I'm gonna know karma versus somebody else just doing something to invoke that over my life. I'm gonna sense it. Cause you would sense something that's unfamiliar too if it's around. Like, hey, what's that smell? I ain't never smelled that before. That ain't karma. That smells like something else. Who needs a friend? They say, who needs a friend? What they say? Who needs a friend when you got enemies like this? I said, who need a friend when you friends with karma like this? What you mean? If she could speak on the other side for me, like, hey, I'm karma. I might even, this is giving me so many poetry ideas as I speak, but if you are new to my channel, I am an author and a poet, and I get inspired by many different things. That's why I was trying to say at the beginning, why would people think that they can do some type of karma, like, oh, we're going to use what you said on the podcast against you? Like, some you probably can do like that. I ain't gonna lie to you. But me, because I was already speaking of a place of pure intention, even if I was talking about a celebrity, a politician. What do you mean? I have a right to have an opinion, comment, and that's all that is. Like, I respect life first because, being friends with karma would teach you that. I respect life first, but it's like a order. It's a universal law. Like, I'm going to just get that in return. Where I don't get it, that's where you see that it ain't karma. Because that ain't even how they work. What I don't get, where I'm not at, it's not for me. There's nothing else to say about that. They said anything that requires you to work like extra hard. I don't know if I agree with this quote. I told y'all, stay tuned though. That's like the next level I'm going with this though. Like, I write my own quotes, but I want to actually go back to other people's quotes and give my reactions to them. Just something I ain't never seen nobody do. But it's not always like, what can I do that ain't nobody ever done? It's just like, I'm trying to tell y'all how I think. So I might be telling the truth about being friends with karma. She talk about somebody that don't know fake. Fake, can't relate to fake. Karma is not even about that. She wouldn't me like that if I was that way. It's crazy. Like I said, I just feel like I made more friends, pals, buddies in the spirit, if anything, than I ever did on earth or that I ever will here. And you take those relationships serious. Like, hey, I might have lost this relationship over here, but look, I earned a new friend. Her name is Karma. Now, depending on how you would judge the image of me saying something like that is on you. But I did just try to sit here and explain, like, in a way of love. Like, it's love now. Karma love me, I love karma. And I can say that and know that I'm being 100% authentic. Karma was like, I ain't never crept up on somebody like this, and they, it was like, open the door, like, hey, come in. You need a drink? Karma was looking at me like, all right, I have a sip with you, but she just had never been accepted for who she was in that way either. I respected, like I said, karma respect me because of the respect I give myself, or like how I am naturally or something. Like, you wouldn't judged at the door, not by me. Another person might judge their karma like, why am I going through this? What's happening? What's going on? Right? I ain't gonna be no stranger when karma's in the room. Period. Cause what can I learn from her? What? And karma was just like, I got a whole new respect for you. And I'm not gonna say what she did. Did she give me a gift? Did she feel like she had to go do something for me? Cause she just like, I love Tetasheri, and I want to show her too. There's a good side of me. You know what I mean? I have sides. I'm karma. I have a gift giving side. I have a gift taking side. Straight up. And that's when the greatest gifts come. When we are unexpected of them and we feel deserving of them. You just didn't know when or how, but you felt deserving of it, right? Especially who it's coming from. It's gonna mean something to you. And if you turn around and receive a good gift from karma, you're gonna feel good about yourself. Because she is karma. Oh man. Oh, so just imagine if more people were like gift givers to karma instead of trying to make karma be some type of affliction on others all the time. They call it revenge, but revenge is not karma. Anything that's man-made invoked on somebody, like somebody went and did that, and that's why that happened to that person. How could you ever put that in the same arena as karma? And now I'm speaking in her defense. We roll a little tighter than that. That's not karma, sweetie. I never knew the words I was going to find it to say it in, but that's how I feel about it. And people need these insights. Like, okay, uh, why on earth did I start off talking about the whore of Babylon, then start talking about karma? Because both of them are described as not in the Bible when we talk about karma, but the Bible does refer to many different things as a woman. Like me, a lot as a poet, if I'm talking about peace, karma, those gentler feelings or softer sides of myself, I might refer to them, those synonyms, anonyms, as a she or her. And then it's like, it'll turn your whole poem around. I wrote a poem before. I'm going to find it for y'all so I can share it. I know where it's at, but I ain't gonna say where yet. I'm gonna just share the link because I don't just have books. I was like in different poetry contests. I've had poems entered into poetry books as well. The fun stuff, the fun stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna go find an old poem I did. It was called Black Widow, and of course you have to describe her as a woman. But I forgot. They thought I was gonna be talking about like a spider or just some. No, I was talking about the real black woman. Like, it's a deep poem. I gotta go find it. I was just talking about speaking from my point of view of what it was like, as a black woman in my life at that time. And no, I did not have spouses or mates dying, but it is really crazy. I'm telling y'all, I think this was published in like 2018, long before the pandemic. Long before I had wrote my first book, pretty much what I'm trying to say. And I don't know why, I was moved to write this. It was called Black Widow. And how she continues to carry on no matter like who she lose, who fall by the wayside. Cause that one, every man that mate with her does kind of lose their lifespan a little bit after a short period of time, and it's not because of some STD. It's just like the natural way of life. And guess what? The little spiders still can't help themselves. This is why the black widows still exist today. That species specifically. I don't know if the spiders aren't aware by now. It doesn't matter. The male spiders are still going to try to come mate with her. And they're going to lose their whole life. Like, they put their whole life on the line to keep those queens. I know we've talked about the queen bees, the queen ants. They're queens, all right, and they have important jobs in their colonies. But this queen is a little different. That's probably why I wrote a poem about it. Like, wow, the black widow's life is very, very, could seem dark depending on how you look at the image. But the light I see in the black widow is that even though this is how her life is, this is how she's naturally created, she keep going. Once again, when them eggs is laid and hatched, she's still gonna take care of them babies for the first 2 weeks or however long, and she gonna keep being the powerful mother black widow that she is. That's all I know. All right, all right, all right. So that was for somebody. We put that out there. That's the thing about karma, and why it had been burning on the inside of me to give my own perception, opinion about this out loud. I'm not the type of person you can come tell me, hey, Bob got karma yesterday, like, without looking at that image for myself, knowing a little bit more about that image that you just tried to describe to me for myself. Let me talk to Bob. Bob might not feel like it's karma. Bob might be able to explain down to the T what just happened to him. You feel me? So we have to be careful using that term so loosely, but then be quick to ask why when something happened, in return to you. You like, why? I know that much. If you have any questions, y'all want to just hear me do a questions and answers, because I really do believe this, let me know in the comments. If I can get this video right here to 15 likes, I will do a question and answers about karma, because I'm not crazy. I told y'all I'm friends with her, and I describe her as a she. Okay? I'll do questions and answers. You guys asking me your questions about karma. And it'll probably blow your mind, like how I can answer them, like at will. Like, I'll even get on camera for you guys. 15 likes, that's all we asking for. Now it can't get 15 likes years later and I still do it, but no matter where I am in life, I probably will. I'll do it for y'all. Like, well, we want to know this that. Since you say you know karma so well, how old is she? Where she come from? What would she think about this? I'll sit here and answer those. But I do feel like I'm a little bit more acquainted. Hearing somebody say that sounds like they've been through a lot of karma or something. And I have, but you never know how, or like what the story was behind it, or if you say been through a lot of karma, like why, why, and then if it ever stopped, why too, right? Um, what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah, that was definitely karma. I left off talking about they used to have the children there in bondage, the animals. If you just came passing through, you know how today you can pass through a city or state. That ain't even staying or residing or staying the night, just passing through. They say back then, if you would even pass through there, it was just probably a very unlikely chance you either weren't getting out, were going to end up in bondage, they was going to have their way with you some way. And that's probably how they did accumulate a lot of their money and keep it like just greed. It probably shows people walk in a room, see golden chairs and tables and stools, and they just swear somebody's doing something great. To them, that's it. You're doing something great. I want to know what you're doing. I want to know how I can get a piece. They don't think for a second that what might be involved with what Sodom and Gomorrah had in town. They had some filthy stuff going on, you know. It's no, do not think God just came through and blew their city up, cause they had so many warnings, so many red flag moments where somebody could have said, "Hey, y'all, maybe this ain't right." So many babies that cried, so many people that had lost their lives, died in sin, and were burning in hell. At the same time, Sodom and Gomorrah was already burning. Like, some of them probably didn't go to hell till later, but there was already some of them that were from those towns probably dying and going to hell, because like they were trying to forbid people bringing the light of the Lord into the land. They didn't want to hear preaching or prophets. Don't y'all know that would be considered a place of darkness? I don't care how many lanterns they had lit. That's a place of pure darkness. you can't, you can't come in there. They already had got to that level. We do what we want to do here. We're a lawless town. When you saw them in Gomorrah, you do what you want to do. I mean, and they would come at your neck. Y'all remember on SpongeBob where they said all bubble blowing babies shall be beaten senseless? It was kind of like that. Put you in that mind frame of what the atmosphere was like. If you tried to bring any preachings or teachings or religious towards them in Sodom and Gomorrah about what they were doing. That didn't stop God from giving Lot a dream, a vision of what he had planned for that place. Some people might say, well, what was he doing there? The Bible has shown us time and time again, sometimes you are born into some type of different family or evil family. When I say different, I said different. Just put different in a category by itself. I'm not going to say Jesus was born into an evil family, but people really do need to go read like all the books of the Bible. They don't know what he went through. When he was little, he was like the stepchild. Jesus Christ he was the stepchild. Okay? And so he might have went through some side things, some side eyes, some side move you to the side sometimes. You know how that is. I don't know. Why is that, y'all? Leave it in the comments, your opinions. But why do people be like that with the side children or the stepchildren? Don't y'all know those are still kids? And that they still have living souls that God desires to redeem and make his if he can. And then they can't be in your way at all. You was just the birth giver. You know what I mean? Give those kids back to God before you just step on them and call them unredeemable. He'll pick them up. Maybe that's what he's doing right now. But Jesus was one of those. That's why I'm asking about. Jesus was a whole stepchild. What do y'all think this was? Joseph and Mary got married later. They were not married that's a whole big part of the Christmas Nazareth story, for those that know. But they were not married when Jesus was conceived or when she had him. They got married later. They also had other children. That's why I call him the stepchild. He was the stepchild. And it'd be so many broken stepchild. What other kids do they try to break more than anything? It's really crazy. But that would mean that child, if he wasn't Joseph's child, he was somebody's child, and his bloodline did run warm from somewhere. And it's significant today to see the similarities in what outside children, stepchildren, whatever y'all want to call them, what they go through. Let them tell their stories. How many adults couldn't find it in their heart to accept that child? Like, you a whole adult. Bet you Jesus know about it. They thought I didn't know. Jesus went through some stuff with his stepfather. I'm not saying Joseph was evil, but he had made differences too. You know what I mean? Like, he probably liked his little daughter more. He didn't just choose to kick it with Jesus because he raising Jesus. Y'all his parents. The angel of the Lord actually commanded you to go help raise him. That didn't mean that he went back to Mary with a positive attitude about it. Just like they said Jonah, like, he didn't have a positive attitude about going to do what God told him to do. And people be like, oh my God, that person's cussing and fussing. That tells you a lot right there. It just, none of us would be the first one. It was so many prophets they showed their disdain. When God told them to talk to a certain people, to tell, like Lot knew, trying to tell them people to stop doing what they were doing in Sodom and Gomorrah was going to make them people angry or make them laugh at them, mock them. He knew it. So sometimes, like I'm saying, it ain't like God, he don't ask you to do a hard task, but it might be a task that, comes with some resistance. You, in your own self-will, it's up to you whether you do that task or not. But Sodom and Gomorrah showed us when it come to evil tasks, people do that in a heartbeat. But God asked them to go tell that town to stop sinning and sleeping with animals and sacrificing animals. And the person don't want to go tell them because they already seeing how the people are. Well, I just want God to know I understand. I pay attention to that. And I know he cares. But if he sends you to deliver that message, even if it's 0 people in the room, you're doing what God told you to do. Lot told them people over and over and over, God gonna burn this town down. Y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop doing it with the children and selling the animals and doing all this wicked, sick, demonic stuff here in this town or cities. They did not want to take heed to that. They actually started turning up more after, just testing God like that. It's different. Some fortune teller, predictor tell you that man came in the name of the Lord and told you, hey, God doesn't like this. He's been watching the city do this for X amount of years, and consider this your warning. He spoke what God told him to speak. Okay, so they didn't stop. We know that that story says God turned that whole town into dust. Wasn't a piece of dust left, because they had even perverted the children, everybody. They perverted the animals, the soil, the air probably stunk. It was probably so perverted. And he had to destroy the whole town. And Lot family did have the ability, the open doorway, to get out. But yep, with that specific story, his wife did turn around. Like, she wanted to, I guess she couldn't believe it. There's specific instruction, just like with Eve. It's like this instruction against destruction that's never followed. In the course of history yet, it's always after the destruction, people want to go ahead and humble themselves and like, oh, okay. I was just saying that this time about the Great Babylon and everything, this ain't one of those after the destruction you can try to turn around and repent. We must know. We must know this. Once it gets to that level, God is already done. Once he got to hand down judgments like that, we're not talking about karma no more. Judgments. Judgments is also something that not just any hand can enforce. They just try to. When they come from God, nobody can get in the way of it. Nobody can stop it. Not even with the children of Israel and Moses. So, this warning to Babylon is also an ancient prophecy text. Just so happened. That's why people get more detailed about it in the research. Like, well, where is Babylon and who's the whore? It's a little deeper than that. When whoring comes in all shapes, forms, and sizes. Seriously. Like, there are so many other sins before God's eyes and nostrils that he's tired of smelling. And what do we do when we're tired of smelling trash? I'm just the messenger. Once again, even with 2 viewers in the room, we are going to, just like Noah, Jonah, Moses, make sure that we're getting these messages out. When did God, like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, let me stop destroying y'all? Once he get to that, that's it. So I'm just out here to say, don't we see the pattern? People never did listen in the Bible, and that's when the real storms came, and that's when then they're crying for help, and that's when then God don't even care no more. And I'm like, why they repeat everything else in history, but the right thing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, let us try to finish what Hitler started. Let us try to do what King Solomon did. But nobody's like, oh, I see what David did. He didn't go to war with strength. He went to war with faith. And the ones we see that, we don't want nobody to see them. And that's okay. It's so funny how God will still place you where you need to be. To us, it could be a coincidence. He's a very intentional God. He'll put you where you need to be, where people can see what he's doing in your life. How he was using you to send forth the message, to like warn others, or yeah, that's just not how God, he's not just going to destroy nothing. That's that grace and mercy that people don't even pray for or ask for. That's how good of a God he is. But the warnings are never asked for. That's how good of a God he is. The warnings are never prayed for. Some people do, they get that deep. God warn me every time there's trouble near or around or surrounding me. Most times people are not praying that. They don't even pray before they go out and get in their cars every day, go do everything it is they do. They just taking a chance. But as long as self-will is involved, they don't understand it. That you just taking a risk or a chance every time you do something without praying before you do it. You're like, well, 10 people just ate a hot dog, I'll be fine. And something happened to you, though. I wouldn't say that's karma. That's like, or if it is karma, what I say about my friend, she's gonna make sure you get a lesson out of it. It's up to you whether you accept that lesson or not. Thank you guys for tuning in to my topic titled "The Horror of Babylon." I might come back with a part two to this for sure. Cause it's funny how people can try to make, like, that's obvious. Everybody is, and I don't mean in a sexual way, but as far as life and idols and what they put before God, there's definitely a lot of horrors of Babylon right now. Men, women, all ages, sizes, like, because just like in Sodom and Gomorrah, they're even to the point they trying to teach the babies that at a very very early age, and so it kind of trickles down judgment all the way down to the bottom when it happened like that, because now you got them pulled into it. That's why when he just get to that point of like, okay, destruction, I'm just gonna destroy it all. I'm tired of seeing it in my sight. And we can't get mad at God for that. We even take the trash out when it stinks. We ain't gonna let it sit in our homes or garages too long. If you don't get to it, the animal's gonna help you get it out of there. But that's the thing about trash and just like what's abominable in God's sight and how he will remove it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like button. If I get 15 likes, I'll do a question and answers about karma. Thank you guys for your support, and until next time.